when that door closes, or that dream that you think that you need to go, that job and that relationship that you're forcing, and you keep saying, well, I'm going to put 100%. If I do my 100%, you can't change that person. You have to work
That's
with
right.
yourself.
That's right. So that's all working out for us in the marathon. It might feel ugly in the sprint because you only got 100 yards in your dash, right? So it might feel uncomfortable in the sprint, but we have to trust that that discomfort is moving us in another direction. It's allowing us to excavate some of the things inside of us that we need to look at more deeply. And it's propelling us to another level, to do more work, to take on more awareness, to shift old patterns and beliefs. So we see them as obstacles or roadblocks or, moments of discomfort or things not working out. But in the rearview mirror, everything that didn't work out for you led you to something else that worked out better.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Authentic Conversations. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I am Amarelis and I'm here with my co-host Susan. Hi Susan.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great and I hope everyone else out there is doing great. Thank you for joining us if you're a returner. And Authentic Conversations, we gather here. Sometimes we have long conversations and sometimes they're short. Just try to keep them short and sweet and always to the point of what source and the energy of the day rises. So I have of course, I always have a question.
You have a question?
I do have a question.
You've been thinking about
Um,
something?
you guys love my questions. They're never a question. They're just like running off around.
You have a run-on sentence with a question mark at the end? Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So, how do we surrender to the creativity or the creative process of life? How to surrender?
Okay, so in a nutshell, don't attach to outcomes. The creative process is never about it's never about the idea of what you're gonna produce or going to produce or how it's going to happen or how it's going to unfold. It's more about enjoying the moment, right? It's about following the journey. It's about paying attention to, all of the things that are showing up for you without having a specific line, straight edge idea about how you're going to get to a certain place. Because by the time you get to that place may not even exist anymore, right? It's like, what are we reaching for? So it's really hard to figure out between goal setting, right? And, like having goals, short-term goals, long-term goals, and then understanding that all of the influences that can occur during the time frame between setting the goals and maybe achieving that goal or something different. I think I've said this to you before, Amaryllis, life is a marathon, not a sprint, right? We're not running the 100-yard dash 100 times a day and trying to win at everything we do. We're having experiences, and through those experiences, we're having glimpses of ourselves or winning moments. Right? So when you think about the 26 point whatever the marathon is, 26.3, 26.5, sorry, 26.20, what it's 26 miles and change, right? When you think about that, it's like I'd like to finish. I don't need to be first. I don't need to be, maybe I have a 3-hour goal or a 4-hour goal or, whatever that is. But the whole idea is when I start, I'm committing myself to be in it no matter what happens along the way. And I think that that's where we get stuck in disappointment and frustration when we believe we're supposed to be somewhere else than we are right now. Ooh. So when I'm at mile 3, That's where I am. And I can't accelerate myself to mile 7 no matter how hard I try. I got to pass through mile 4, 5, and 6 to get there. So I have to embrace the idea that, hey, I'm at mile 3 and I've already done, I've already completed part of the task. And then just honor and congratulate myself for whatever it took me to get there. So the creativity part comes in your thinking. We stifle our creativity through constantly nitpicking, judging, feeling frustrated, being angry and upset, being jealous. Those are the things that steal our creativity. Everyone's an artist. Everyone has the ability to be creative in some venue, more than one avenue of their lives. But if you start to compare your creativity to someone else's creativity, right, and they have more talent in one area, then you're going to shut down as a result of comparison or jealousy or frustration or disappointment. And you'll never fine tune your creative self. Creative problem solving, right? We're not talking about everyone has to, be a Van Gogh or, have Andy Warhol, have these great, artistic masterpieces. We're already masterpieces. We need to fine tune our expression of that. It's funny, you mentioned artists, right? And I mean, I like to dabble in things. I like to cut things. I like to paste things. I like to bend things. I like metal. I like stuff. I like wood. But I did a workshop in a high school with a friend of mine who's an collage artist. And kids are like, what kind of artist are you? I was like, I'm a word artist. I use my words as my form of art. So if my words can speak to your soul, just like someone else's images can, then I am a word artist. They were like, oh, that's cool. I mean, they're high schoolers. They're like, okay, that's cool. I'm like, thanks. Right? So creativity is cultivated through not quitting and through not comparing and through not, constantly critiquing what you're doing.
Okay, so I think of creativity and I'm thinking of everything you're saying. And of course, if you follow us, guys, we've talked about this probably a lot because it is again back to energy. What makes us happy? Where through this question is like, how am I being creative with my life and my goals and being happy in the moment, which is being said over and over in a world where we're constantly being bombarded by emails, TikToks, the phone being right by you. There's just constant things that you have to accomplish and feeling that if you don't do these things then you're being lazy and you're not being proactive instead of the creation of life, of taking the pause. Wintertime right now is happening, just kind of coming inward so that we regenerate our energy and be able to then flourish like our flowers.
Right.
Nature, we just get so competitive in the fact that we think that we have to do this. I have to create a family. And when I have this family, then I'm going to be a great mom. And then I'm going to be a great parent and a sister. And
Right. I have to create social media so that I can give people an idea of how wonderful my life is. Wait a minute. No, I have to live a wonderful life. And if it shows up on social media or that's how it translates, that's great too. But, it's removing the have tos and really just settling into joyful moments. Now, again, if you've ever run a marathon, and I haven't, right? I don't even know how long one is, but it's longer than I, right?
I can't run to save my life.
But it's like life, right? There's moments where you just feel like you want to quit. There's moments where you just feel like you're going to drop to the ground and that's going to be it, it's over. And then there's moments where you dig deep. And in that digging deep, you find exactly what you need to carry you further, because thousands of people start marathons and thousands of people finish marathons. So we have to stop paying attention to, the end result and where you're going to be and what it's going to look like, because you can't control all the variables. You can't get stuck trying to create something and feeling like everything that redirects you is bad for you. Hmm.
Hmm.
You know what I mean by that,
Oh
Amaryllis?
yeah. I mean, when that door closes, or that dream that you think that you need to go, that job and that relationship that you're forcing, and you keep saying, well, I'm gonna put 100%. If I do my 100%, you can't change that person. You have to work
That's
with
right.
yourself.
That's right. So that's all working out for us in the marathon. It might feel ugly in the sprint because you only got, 100 yards in your dash, right? So it might feel uncomfortable in the sprint, but we have to trust that that discomfort is moving us in another direction. It's allowing us to excavate some of the things inside of us that we need to look at more deeply. And it's propelling us to another level, to do more work, to take on more awareness, to shift old patterns and beliefs. So we see them as obstacles or roadblocks, or, moments of discomfort or things not working out. But in the rearview mirror, everything that didn't work out for you led you to something else that worked out better.
Do you think is there a point in life where you should stop trying to figure this out, or can be at peace with when?
Yeah, now. Right now, because we can't go backwards in time and we can't predict the future. But yeah, right now, here's the deal. You show up and you do your best. You show up and you do your best, and your best is all you have on that day. And your best, it varies from day to day, depending on how much sleep you had, what you fueled your body with, what you ate, what kind of thinking you have going on right now, what the weather looks and feels like. Your best is full of variables. It's got a lot of variables. So we have to be kind and compassionate to ourselves as we navigate. As we navigate. But don't attach yourselves to outcomes, because 99.9% of the time, you could never predict the way it's actually going to unfold. And if you're predicting it, and then you're forcing it, and then you're trying to control the people around you so that you can control the outcome, your reach only goes just so far. I don't know how many people you have under your control. Truly, the answer should be one, you. Right? But if you're trying to micromanage and control others, the people at work, how people think, what people say, what people do, by your actions and attitudes, that's a lot of work. That's exhausting work that is not getting you to a joyful place.
Wow. So, this is the conversation I've been having a lot this month with a couple of people, almost like the, AA meetings, or sometimes just taking it 24 hours for the day when
Yeah.
you're detoxifying yourself, when you are working on your diet or an addiction that you have. We all have some sort of things that we are trying to better ourselves. And sometimes we want a magic pill. We want this fast.
Well, because we want the sprint. But I'll tell you what, life doesn't work like that. It's a marathon. It's a marathon. So if you get tired, you slow it down a little bit and you rest. If you feel energized, you pay attention to the things that energize you. And you fuel and feed your body in the way that you would fuel and feed whatever it was that was most important to you.
It's just, I love this creativity aspect that comes up, and it even came up when we were preparing for this talk today. The fact of being creative, guys, we are all magical. And even if you think, well, I don't have a bone in me of creativity, you do. There's music that moves you, that makes you dance, that, or that time when you're walking in nature and you love gardening, that's
Hands in the
creativity.
dirt is creativity. It's all creative. Life, at a cellular level, we're very creative and we're creative problem solvers. We're also creative problem makers if we allow ourselves to be, right? I mean, which way are you using your creativity? How are you channeling your creativity?
Yeah. And so, in going back to that childlike mode of, what did you do when you were a child that you liked to do? Whether it was playing a board game, and if you never got that board game, picking it up and bringing
Yeah.
it to the house, playing it with your roommates. I just had so much fun the other day helping my friend figure out how to play Clue. It was my favorite game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think, everybody's played Clue,
Everybody's played it. No,
and
no,
no,
you can't assume anything. Oh, make no
yeah,
assumptions. Don Miguel Ruiz, make no assumptions, or the old, if you make an assumption, it makes an ass out of you and me, right?
yeah,
Ask questions. If you see people who are joyful or who are living a full creative life in person, in the 3D, because we don't know what's happening behind the scenes of social media. But if there's someone you admire, ask them. Ask them how they get to feel like that every day. What is their thought pattern behind it? What is their release or their outlet? What is it that they love? And the more you talk to people who love life, the more you begin to appreciate yours.
absolutely. So we go back to being grateful for what's around us and what we have. And even when in your darkest moments, guys, that you're feeling lost, you found this conversation. And our goal for authentic conversation is always that if we can give the light to one person, our job is done. One person that reads this and listens to this.
And I want to put a little disclaimer on Amarella saying we talked about this conversation. It was only because I was running late. I called her from the car. I am always on early. Amarellis is always running late. It's just the nature of who we are. She's like, I'm on, where are you? And I'm like, I'm driving home. So that was the nature of our conversation.
Yeah, because we don't practice this. Oh, oh, oh. But it always aligns, because it's always what, when you're being authentic with who you are and the goal of the message, it's beautiful, because I was reading something, and it just aligned itself right then and there, because that was what we needed to talk about today. And I feel like right now, with all this new energy of the new year and the winter time, and there's more time for us to kind of slow down. And sometimes for some of us, the fast pace is what keeps us going. And we're so afraid of slowing down and thinking that we're not being creative because we're not running around going to another meeting and another meeting. Creativity is maybe grabbing a coloring book and some coffee and just cuddling under your blanket in the cold days that are happening, and just touching base with yourself. And that will guide you to be with yourself and just find that creativity.
Take whatever you need.
Thank
Take
you so
whatever you
much
need.
again, Susan, for being with us and our audience. You know where to find us. Thank you.
Bye.